My opinion is that Richard exhibits a high level of responsiveness to our Board of Selectmen, collectively and individually. He communicates regularly, as has been noted, and provides the exact information to all of us. His communication is typically unbiased and fact-based, affording policy decision makers unbiased, objective information. His preparation for town meeting and stewardship of the presentation process throughout budget season and town meeting are very strong. I also want to commend him on listening to concerns of the Selectmen annually and making one of his prospective goals this year the establishment and development of an assistant town manager position for succession planning and workload management purposes. Over-reliance on the town manager and need for delegation to others remains one of my highest priorities, and I now feel comfortable that I see a path to improvement and possible resolution. With respect to this topic area of community relations, my comments are that I find Richard to be responsive to citizen concerns, as has been mentioned by others, and attentive to the needs of various groups within the community. He has an open door policy and will readily meet with anyone. He initiated, as we all know, and subsequently modified the so-called neighborhood meetings that were helpful in identifying resident concerns and focus areas. With the new town hall opening just a few short weeks ago, he's now focused on reinstituting live televising of board meetings and working to improve public awareness of activities in the town hall itself. That's an ongoing challenge for all of municipal government, as residents and business owners clearly rely more and more on technology for information. I've also personally witnessed Richard participating in community activities. For example, the Build-A-Day at Habitat for Humanity's house on State Street. Richard has also been instrumental in our board's development of and focus on our most important goal of improving Route 38, as mentioned in your goals earlier tonight. While a monumental task with many complicated facets, he and his team continue to focus on that specific area on a regular basis. With respect to personal qualities, my opinion is very strong that you exhibit the highest ethical standards and demand the same of all of those around you. You demonstrate personal and professional integrity with respect to many issues. Examples are businesses who approach the town but require confidentiality early in their discussions, to personnel matters of utmost sensitivity. And I believe that you are well regarded by your peers and peer managers throughout the region, as Mr. Panelitis just mentioned, and we are certainly well served by your stewardship. In summary, I would say that when you were first hired, the town was faced with significant financial issues. Your steady hand and calm demeanor has led to a consistent and transparent process, resulting in a much more positive financial outlook. Budgets have stabilized, and we have begun to restore some of lost services. We've refinanced outstanding obligations, saving taxpayers millions. We have a stabilization fund that was previously non-existent. We utilize free cash at year-end in a clearly understood and appropriate fashion. Standard & Poor's has twice commented positively about the town's financial outlook in the last 2 years, a reflection of Tewksbury's positive financial progress. More recently, they attributed one of the key reasons for increasing the town's rating to AA+ to very high grades for management, which is in large part attributable to you directly and certainly indirectly to your overall stewardship. I also want to be clear to everyone that I've considered feedback throughout the year from residents, business owners. I have 2 letters here with me today, for example. Department managers I've had conversations with, my colleagues, other elected officials, and other individuals in formulating the opinions that I just expressed. I view my responsibility, as I stated a few minutes ago, as one of the 5 people who ultimately hire and contract with a town manager to be one of my most important elected responsibilities, and I take that very seriously. While no one person is perfect, and there certainly remain many areas that I know Richard has personally expressed interest in focusing on in his day-to-day stewardship on our behalf. On the whole, I have to agree with my colleagues that our town is fortunate to have him as our town manager. He's earned my high regard over his tenure, as well as specifically during this particular 12-month evaluation cycle. So I just want to, again, echo the comments of my colleagues and thank you for the effort. I know you mentioned in your goals that some are in progress, some haven't been met, but I think when you look at the entire body of work, we are certainly in a better place today than we were when we started the year 12 months ago, and I know for an absolute fact that we're in a better place today than when we started the very first day you came to work for the town of Tewksbury. And I think, in my opinion, that's all that needs to be said.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With the indulgence of my colleagues, I might suggest when we get together in January that we afford Mr. Crabman an opportunity, not to belabor the issue, but if he so desires to offer any commentary. Unfortunately, as we know, he had to depart tonight unexpectedly. The third component of our discussion this evening with the town manager, or about the town manager. Actually, before I move on, let me ask if you have any comments, because performance appraisals are usually give and take, and I just jumped up there.
I appreciate everything the board said, and I appreciate the last 5 years I've been here, the opportunity to work in town, work with great boards of selectmen, and as I've said in the past, and I'll continue to say that we've been very successful here, and none of it could have been accomplished without outstanding department heads. So I have a lot of credit to them and the work they do. But I've had outstanding boards of selectmen. This one is no different, so that makes my job a lot easier. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the way you go about doing your job. And it's truly been a team effort, and we have a lot more to do, and I look forward to doing it. So,
Thank you. All right. The third of four items we needed to address tonight per the agreement that we have in place. The next item is pertains to the term of contract. And as my colleagues are aware, the current term with Mr. Montori expires in the next few days. Per the agreement that we have in place, we were required approximately 6 months ago to meet with him and indicate our intention as a board to either extend the agreement or to terminate the agreement. And Mr. Montori likewise had the option to indicate his desire to terminate the agreement with the Board of Selectmen or continue. At that time, some months ago, we agreed that we would both mutually like to continue our relationship, and that left the sole issue to be determined would be the extent of an extension beyond the current term. And we met earlier this evening in executive session. The board had some discussion with Mr. Montori, and consistent with the town charter and consistent with the prior extensions that we've voted historically relative to Mr. Montori's contract, the board voted in executive session to extend the contract for a period of 3 years, and that would be from January 17, 2016 through January 17 of 2019. Just so that we can record that on the record in open session, I would like to ask for a motion from my colleagues in a second to enter into that extension as I just indicated.
I'll make a motion to extend the town manager contract for a period of 3 years to start out on January 17, 2016.
I'll second. Okay, so we have a motion made and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye on that as well, so that would be unanimous. Again, I'll note that Mr. Kratman is not with us. We'll execute these documents in full as is required and circulate those around as we go. And I thank you, Mr. Montori, again for your participation in that discussion. The last item we need to address as it relates to the town manager's contract is the subject matter of compensation. And our contract requires us to address that annually at this time after we have conducted a review of goals or establishment of goals and a performance assessment. However, as my colleagues are aware, we don't have a budget to do that. We have to rely on the prospective budget because we're in the middle of a fiscal year. So the discussion this evening simply would be to place or ask the town manager, require the town manager to put a budgetary placeholder in the budget line item that we can, as a board, take action on, assuming town meeting ultimately in May passes a budget effective July 1st of 2016. So the discussion from this point forward relative to compensation is not something that will be awarded this evening. It would be simply a budgetary item, and this board will come back after the 1st of July and execute upon its discretion at that time and however constituted to make any monetary adjustments to the town manager's compensation. So at this time, I'd like to just open that up to discussion and ask my colleagues if they have proposals or consideration relative to that budget.
Well, given the very positive reviews, the fact that we have all just voted to extend the contract for another 3 years, and certainly, in my opinion, had the charter not limited us to 3 years, we could have considered a longer term given the great service that we're receiving from the town manager. So based on that, I would make a motion to instruct the town manager to set aside $8,000 to be placed in the town manager's salary line item, contingent on approval of that funding at town meeting in May.
Okay. Is there discussion?
I agree with the principle that Mr. Penley just said, that the reviews across the board, minus Mr. Kratman, wasn't able to speak tonight, were top shelf, and I think that Mr. Montori is well deserving of the increase that Mr. Penley has brought before us tonight. I think he should be compensated fairly for the hard work he does, and I think he's done an exemplary job in the last year, as everybody has mentioned, as far as the bond rating and a number of other items that he's put us in a great financial position that he's put us in. So I think that's more than a fair proposal that Mr. Penley's made.
So would I be imposing on you if I asked if you seconded that?
I will second that.
Okay.
Wait, let's see if Mr. Wentworth has any chime in.
I'll see if Mr. Wentworth has any comments. Okay. All right, so we have a motion made and a second. And again, for clarity's sake, I just want to stress that this is a budgetary placeholder, and this board will have to take further action steps at a later date to make any award or adjustment to Mr. Montori's compensation. But the motion on the table was to put a budgetary placeholder of $8,000 in the town manager's salary budget, and that was seconded. So I would ask at this time all those in favor to please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I will vote in the affirmative as well. So that would be a 4-0 vote to make that transaction happen, and then we will work through the budget process and come back here in July. All right, I thank you all for your patience while we tended to those important items. And most importantly, Mr. Montori, thank you for your patience while we did that.
Thank you.
All right, the next item we have to deal with tonight is a transfer of a common victual license pertaining to Long's Kitchen. And this is a license that, as I said, the establishment name is Long's Kitchen. The full name of person, firm, or corporation making the application is North China Incorporated of 736 Chicopee Street in Chicopee, Massachusetts. And this has been a transfer request by the applicant representing that organization, Sam Wong. Are there questions about that? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve that transfer.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. Our next item is the acceptance of a resignation from the Economic Development Committee. You should have in your board packet an email dated November 9, 2015 from Michael Monahan, who has indicated in that written correspondence, and it was submitted to the town clerk as well, that he would be submitting his resignation effective immediately on November 9. So I'd like to take a vote to accept that resignation and ask for a motion to do so. So,
Second.
we have a motion made and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye as well. And then concurrent with that, with discussion from the chair of the Economic Development Committee, Mr. Panelitis, as my colleagues will recall, we made provision for this potential event by appointing three associate members of the Economic Development Committee. And I have it on good knowledge from Mr. Panelitis that all three associate members were inquired of as to their interest in serving as a full member, and one specific individual, Mr. Branchode.
Yep.
Tom Branchode raised his hand and has asked to be made a full member to fill out the remainder of the term, which, as you all know, runs through June 30, as a full voting member of the EDC. So I would ask, unless there are concerns, that we pursue that line of discussion.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tom Brancho as a full voting member of the Economic Development Committee
Okay, could I just ask you to state a term to that? Yeah.
with an ending
Yeah.
date of June 30th, 2016.
Thank you. Is there a second to that?
Second, sure.
All right, we have a motion made by Mr. Wentworth, seconded by Mr. Gay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That would be unanimous as well, as I vote in favor of that. And I guess I would suggest, Mr. Panelitis, that if the committee wishes to fill the vacant associate member position, we can move forward with that as we line up for July 1st, right? You can recruit for that and take it from there. We have, for consideration, actually two steps here. Item number 7. You each should recall that a long-standing member of the Council on Aging appointed by the Board of Selectmen as our representative, Ellen Keefe, otherwise known as Peg Keefe, expressed her desire to serve out her term through December 31st, 2015, and to no longer be considered for reappointment. I'm not really sure why. She only served for 27 years on the committee, but she decided to retire. So I have a letter here from the board. I'd like to read the context of the letter and then just ask my colleagues to vote to issue this letter to Ms. Keefe in appreciation for her service. Dear Peg, as your current term on the Council of Aging expires The Board of Selectmen would like to express its sincere gratitude for your commitment and outstanding service as a member of the Council on Aging. Your 27 years of service are a testament to your commitment to the council and your fellow seniors in Tewksbury. The Tewksbury Senior Center would not be as welcoming a place and as successful as it is without residents like you who have stepped up to volunteer your service to the town over the course of many, many years. We wish you all the best in 2016 and beyond. And this would be executed by all of the selectmen, dated January 12th of 2015. With the assent of the board, I'd like to ask that this letter be sent to Ms. Keith.
Make that motion to send it to Ms. Keith.
Second.
Second, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair will vote aye as well. And then that brings us to the need to fill that opening. We have, I think if I remember right, the composition of the Council on Aging is 6 members are appointed by the council and 5 members are appointed by the Board of Selectmen. This one obviously needs to be filled because we now have a vacancy. All the others are currently filled. As you know, we've had notice for some time that Ms. Keefe was intending not to reapply, and we have posted this position and sought candidates. We do have one candidate, Robert McGinnis of Emerald Court, 1302 Emerald Court in Tewksbury, and he has indicated that he's been attending the senior center for many, many years. He's lived in town since 1966. Belongs to the men's group at the senior center on Thursday. He's very interested in what happens and goes on at the senior center, and he's always willing to help. So he's looking to be appointed and has asked for our consideration relative to filling the remainder of, or actually the term prospectively, which would run through June 30 of 2018. I want to stress to my colleagues that, if you recall, town meeting changed the terms from December to June a year or two ago, so we're in a kind of a transition phase. So the term specific to this seat would be January 1st of 16 to June 30 of 18, roughly 2.5 years. We have no other applicants. I will note parenthetically that, as you all know, we have the discretion certainly to conduct interviews or to move forward with an appointment based on this sole application. I don't know what the preference of the board is. I would ask that at this time.
Given that the position was known to be becoming vacant, I don't see a reason to wait any longer. So I'd make a motion to appoint Mr. McGinnis to the position on the Council of Aging.